Shalom, call Elohim Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rachak Kodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. I wanted to really quickly speak about this word humility, or just being humble, and talk about how important it is. And in my opinion, it's the most important characteristic or trait to have in this ministry. Now, of course, you want to know all the prophecies and be able to break them down and to be able to talk about all of the different parables and we'll say, quote unquote, breakdowns in general. All those things are very important and they're necessary. However, they'll come over time and you'll get them as you learn and as you grow. But you won't be able to grow if you're not humble, if you're not showing humility. You won't become in time a great reader or a great speaker if you're not humble, right? And the proof of that is that you have all these guys out there and they can break certain things down, but then when it comes to having 100% truth, they just don't have it. And they want to be the high priest here. They want to be the grand top dog in Israel there. They want to be like Yahweh Shai and be his right-hand man. But the whole time they're not humble. So their doctrine is flawed. There's holes in there. They have to cover things up. And then, of course, you know the saying, when you make up one lie, you got to create another one to cover the previous one. And it just makes more holes and more holes in their doctrine. And it all stems from them not being humble. You don't got to be the top guy in order to receive salvation. There's 144,000 positions, 12,000 men out of each tribe. There's plenty of space. And of course, you got the 1/3 behind them. That's billions of Israelites. Now, us being teachers, we're striving to be a part of the 144,000, right? And that takes humility. You got to be humble. You got to learn and grow in the process of time, and you have to mark the perfect man, meaning you copy that individual until you start becoming your own. But you're keeping the doctrine that you were taught, right? So the word humility on Edom Online, it literally means the quality of being humble, right? So it goes on to give some synonyms, and it says lowness, small stature, insignificance, baseness, a littleness of mind. It even says meekness, lowly. Now, the actual breakdown of the word, it means literally on the ground, right? You're low, you're at a base level. And even if you aren't in stature or in terms of your rank, it's referring to your mindset. And this doesn't mean that you're walking around with your head down because you want to ensure that you're being meek and humble and you're not offending anybody. No, you can be humble and show humility, but your head is still raised high. But all that means is that you're not going to say or do anything that makes it seem as if you're above the rest of the crowd, right? And you're so much more important and powerful than everybody. You're not walking around soft and timid and shaking and, your voice is cracking every other word because you're just so nervous. That's not what it means to be humble. It just means to be meek. You understand that there is a ranking system because there's order. And now you're falling in line, right? That's what it means to be humble. That's what it means to show humility. You have to have patience, meaning that you may have to suffer at times, and that's okay. Remember, a reward for us is coming in the very end. And that goes for men and women. There's going to be a reward for everything that we're going through because of the faith that we're showing in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So, very, very important character trait, in my opinion. It's the most important. It'll bring you the furthest along in this ministry. And I'm going to read, starting off in the book of Romans 12, verse 3. It says, "For I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as God hath dealt to every man the measure of faith. So remember, each and every single one of us has been given a specific measure of faith, of knowledge, of wisdom, understanding, so on and so forth. Just because you may have a little bit more of one of those things than the man or brother next to you, it doesn't mean that you're supposed to think more highly of yourself. Oh, look how much God has exalted me. No, remember my previous video, I just made a video in the spirit talking about serving one another. And the higher you are in rank, you start to understand, okay, this is really about serving, really about helping those in need, helping those that, hey, just being able to break down different topics in the Bible and making videos about them. That's serving right there. Now somebody else that just came in and that's inquiring can look at your video and, oh, okay, that's what it's talking about. Now they can get edified. Or maybe because of all of your experiences, now you can offer advice. So even you serving takes humility. So now Paul is giving us a warning. Yes, Paul is giving us a warning, and he's saying, look, don't think of yourself more highly than you ought to think. What does that mean? Think of yourself lower than you ought to think, which means show humility, be humble. Because ultimately, we all know that the Most High could have raised up whoever he wanted. It didn't have to be you. It didn't have to be me. He could have given this knowledge to anybody, but he chose specific individuals before the foundation of the world. That's all according to his will. It's not because we're so mighty and now we came up with this knowledge and we found it ourselves. That's why you got to be humble. Because we didn't get this knowledge on our own. It was just given to us. Like we had no say in it whatsoever. So it's very, very important to be humble, to show humility. I'm going to read this in the NLT now. Romans 12:3 in the NLT, it says, because of the privilege and authority God has given me, meaning to Paul, I give each of you this warning. Don't think you are better than you really are. Don't think you are better than you really are. Once again, God gave you this knowledge. He can take it away. Isn't he not our heavenly Father? Right? And what do your parents tell you? They say, boy, I brought you in this world. I'll take you out. Right? Well, the Most High gave us his knowledge and he brought us into this world so we could take the knowledge away, and or he could take us out of this world, bring us back to the spiritual world at any moment that he chooses. A blink of an eye, one split second, you wake up in the morning not knowing that's going to be your last day. So don't think you're better than you really are. It says be honest in your evaluation of yourselves. Meaning you have to examine yourself every single day, every single situation, even in the moment. And it's hard to do. It really is. Trust me, it's hard to do in the moment sometimes, to analyze the situation and think about everything in the moment while something is happening. But you have to work on it. You have to do it. Okay, X, Y, and Z is what's happening. This is the situation. Am I being humble? Am I showing humility? So be honest in your evaluation of yourselves, measuring yourselves by the faith God has given us. Now I'm going to jump over to the book of Matthew 18. And I'm going to get out of the NLT. We're going to read this in the King James. Matthew 18, verse 1, it says, at the same time came the disciples unto Yahushua, saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Yahushua called the little child unto him, and set him in the midst of them, and said, verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. And a lot of dudes out here need to do that. They need to be converted. They want to be the top dog, not only in the kingdom of heaven, but they want to be the top dog, the grand master high priest here on earth. They want to be that rank that's right under Yahawashi. Like they want to be his right-hand man that he calls on when he needs something. Look, bro, chill out. It's not about numbers. It's not about being that right-hand man. It's just about making it. Everybody wants to be pretty and look all nice and neat in front of man. You have all the numbers. Look how many people are on your live, right? And then they want to take the ministry and they want to make merchandise of it. Now that you have all these views, your YouTube videos or channel is being monetized and you're making money off of it. People want to put Yahweh and Yahawashi in the Paleo Hebrew on a shirt or on a hat, and they want to sell it. On scarves or head wraps, and they want to sell it. Nah, man. That's not being humble. That's not showing humility. That's not waiting on the kingdom of heaven. Being the greatest is not what it's about right now. It's about receiving salvation. And of course, striving for the masteries. Like I mentioned before, we're striving to be a part of the 144,000. But even within that, you're being humble. Because remember, the 144 are the leaders, the future leaders of the kingdom of Israel, and not only that, the entire world. Once you get up to that high rank, right, you're going to be humble in general, knowing that you didn't put yourself there. So why not start with being humble now? So the disciples here may have been just inquisitive, right? Maybe they were just curious. Or maybe it was a prideful question. That's really up for, what do they say, extrapolation or whatever the word is. Who knows? But to ask that now, I'll tell you what, it's irrelevant. And it is. It's irrelevant. Just make it. Worry about your salvation. Okay, I'm going to read verse 3 again. It says, "And said, verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven." What does that mean? That means that you have to be humble, knowing that you know nothing. You have to come prepared and ready to learn, because that's how a child comes. A child comes ready to learn, wanting to learn. A child comes sucking the breast, meaning you get the foundation of what's going to help you develop, get the proper nutrients so that you can grow. To do that, you have to be humble. Now, verse 4, "Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven." And ultimately, we're all striving for the same penny. We're just striving to receive salvation and be a part of those that are going to have that great ride over to the nation of Israel in that chariot. That's it. So being humble and showing humility, it'll take you a far way. And then, of course, remember, at the very end, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi is going to raise us up, and we're going to receive that crown. It's not about numbers right now. It's not about how you look right now. I mean, I'll put it this way, too. Take heed, even your rank in a camp, it's not super important in terms of your establishment in the kingdom of heaven. The lowest ranking guy in your camp, more than likely, hopefully, is still a part of the 144,000. It doesn't matter. If you're on the outside when Yahawashi returns, you're standing on the outside, all hell breaks loose, you're never in the camp, and then all of a sudden now there's Jacob's trouble, but you were standing out there for a while, you didn't make it in. So what? Were you not still standing? Hell yeah. You were out there in the cold, in the winter, in the rain. You were offering your body as a living sacrifice. Is that not what we were commanded to do? So yeah, more than likely, even you're still a part of the 144,000. You humbled yourself. You got out there. You were willing to learn. and you were growing. You were doing the will of the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son. And that took humility. That's all that matters. That's it. So hopefully the point was made. There are so many precepts that you can bring out concerning this topic and so much more to say on it, but I do my best to keep my videos short and sweet. So Lord's will, this was, and it was edifying to the elect. Kol Haloyim Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rachakudash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.